Ponte Vedra Beach wasn't the kind of place people locked their doors at night. The air smelled like salt water and money, and neighbours waved from behind gated drives. It was polished, wealthy, and quiet, the kind of community where the biggest scandal was usually a golf course dispute. But every paradise has cracks, and in 2009 one of those cracks opened wide. You'd think a place like Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, white sand, luxury homes, retirees sipping wine at sunset, would be the last place for a kidnapping plot. But in September 2009, during Labor Day weekend, the unthinkable unfolded. In a $4.5 million mansion on the water, a note sat ominously on the kitchen counter. It warned, "Don't call the cops. $50,000 by tomorrow. Do not be a hero." That's how the disappearance of 37-year-old Quinn Gray began. A real-life thriller in a picture-perfect town. From the outside, the Gray family looked untouchable. Reed drove luxury cars, the house was spotless, and Quinn played the role of the perfect stay-at-home mom. To neighbours, they seemed like a model couple living a Florida dream. But beneath the surface, things were messy. Their marriage was already creaking under secrets. Quinn Gray was no stranger to privilege. A former nurse turned stay-at-home mum. She lived with her husband Reed and their 2 daughters in one of the most expensive homes in Ponte Vedra Beach. Reed owned a successful medical supply business, earning over $1 million a year. On paper, it was a dream marriage. Money, kids, and a new beachfront property. But behind closed doors, things were shaky. Infidelities, drinking, and resentments had eaten away at the relationship. That tension would soon become centre stage in a story that shocked even seasoned investigators. Reed had always been the calm one in the marriage, but nothing could have prepared him for that phone call. The voice on the other end wasn't his wife's usual tone. It was strained, terrified, and laced with desperation. She wasn't asking, she was begging. Something was very wrong. On September 4th, 2009, Reed Gray was at work when his phone rang. It was Quinn. She said she'd been kidnapped by 3 men. Albanians, she whispered, who demanded $50,000 or she'd be killed. Reed rushed to the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office.
The sheriff's office. My wife, your phone call to me a minute ago. Call phone to say that she was held by gunpoint. Did he tell you where she was at? No. There's a note at the house with the gunman's demand. Said, you call the police, they will shoot me dead. It could be 3:30 kilometers, but the gun's gone, man.
Detectives swept through the house. No kids, no Quinn, no signs of struggle. Just that ransom note in Quinn's handwriting. Reed was frantic. The kidnappers wanted the money by the next day, and they claimed to be tracking his every move. The setup looked like something out of a movie, except it was real. And the danger seemed immediate. The next 48 hours turned into a dizzying chase. Phone calls would come, locations would change, and the police scrambled to keep up. Every lead seemed like it might be the one, only for the rug to be pulled out at the last second. The whole thing felt more like theatre than crime. Quinn called several times that weekend. She sounded terrified, screaming that she was tied up and would be killed if Reed involved the cops.
What do I need to do?
They'll call you back. I don't know. They'll call you back, okay?
All right. I love you. She said they'll call me back in a few minutes. Hello?
What is listening? Your phone says that.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I've been tied up all night long. What the f*** is wrong with you? You're in the car with the money and go down Cutler Boulevard and take a left on South
I gotta
Side.
write this down. You can't.
No, just this. No, please. Down Cutler Boulevard, take a left. You got the jobs. They're gonna get me too.
Hello? She got really upset, started screaming, saying I'm tied up. And she goes, you got the cops. They know they're going to kill me. She, for the first time, was screaming, crying, saying they got me tied up.
Drop-offs were arranged and then cancelled. The kidnappers always seemed one step ahead, spotting surveillance or changing instructions at the last second. At one drop-off, a bag of cash was mistakenly picked up by a group of German tourists, leading to a bizarre traffic stop. Even photos of Quinn emailed to Reed, which police hoped to trace, turned out to be dead ends. Every clue either fizzled out or led nowhere. The pressure mounted. Detectives noticed Quinn's version of events shifting like sand. First, there were 3 kidnappers, then only 1. First a warehouse, then a motel. Her fear seemed real, but her details didn't. To cops, it smelled like a story that was being rewritten on the fly. By Sunday, something wasn't adding up. At first, Quinn said 3 men kidnapped her, then she said just 1. She claimed she'd been kept in a warehouse, then in a motel. She described sarcastic remarks about rich people from her captor, but couldn't identify him clearly. Yet she remembered specific details, like where he bought her food. Police used that to pull CCTV footage of a man at a convenience store. They released it to the public. Within hours, the kidnapper himself, a 25-year-old Bosnian auto mechanic named Jasmin Asanovic, called police, saying he'd seen his face on TV and wanted to clear things up. When Jasmin walked into the sheriff's office, he didn't look like a hardened criminal. He was young, well-spoken, and nervous. The more he talked, the clearer it became. This wasn't a kidnapper for hire. This was something stranger, and far more embarrassing. Jasmin wasn't a gang leader. He wasn't even a kidnapper in the usual sense. He was Quinn's secret lover. The two had met at a gas station months earlier and begun an affair. That Labor Day weekend, while Reed thought his wife was fighting for her life, Quinn and Jasmin were holed up together in a motel. Jasmin had secretly recorded their time together, sensing Quinn might frame him if things went bad. He was right. The recording showed them together, intimate, relaxed, at the very moment she was supposedly in captivity. What looked like a ransom nightmare was actually an extortion scheme to get $50,000 out of Reed. The case collapsed almost instantly once the tape was played. Every detail Quinn had given, every tear-filled plea was stripped apart by her own recorded words. Detectives had seen people lie before, but rarely with such commitment. It was a performance, and now the curtain had dropped. When confronted with the tape, Quinn's story fell apart. She and Jasmin had staged the kidnapping using fake ransom calls and drop-offs to pressure Reed into paying up. But as the plan unravelled, Quinn tried to paint herself as a victim, claiming Jasmin manipulated her during a bipolar episode. Reed, meanwhile, had been under constant police surveillance all weekend, showing no sign of involvement. Eventually, both were arrested. Jasmin pled guilty to extortion and got 6 years probation. Quinn pled no contest to threats and extortion, receiving 7 years probation. Each was ordered to pay half of the $86,000 investigation cost. In the end, the fallout was brutal. Reed divorced Quinn, Jasmin's reputation was trashed, and Quinn's name became linked forever to one of Florida's strangest scams. Both avoided prison time, but both carried the weight of their choices. For Quinn, it meant losing her marriage, her credibility, and her place in the community. By 2010, the Gray's marriage was over. Reed filed for divorce after Quinn failed a private polygraph test. Jasmin and Quinn served their probation and moved on with their lives.